That's ridiculous.
Alright. Mark Udall, an American politician, once said, "Our livelihood is intimately tied to the food we eat, the water we drink, and the places where we recreate. That's why we have to promote responsibility and conservation when it comes to natural resources." The purpose of my speech today is to tell you three things that the DNR's job is. Being from Minnesota, I'm sure all of us have gone snowmobiling or hunting or fishing or state trails or anything like that. I'm really knowledgeable in this because all my hobbies that I do outside of school and work are managed by the DNR, and I've done a lot of research on DNR and the things they are able to do. The reason I'm here today is to inform you on the DNR's mission, and that is to conserve and manage state's natural resources, provide outdoor recreation opportunities, and provide for commercial uses of natural resources. Conserving and managing natural resources impact Minnesotans greatly. To begin, DNR's mission is to conserve the resources of our lands. Here's a quote from the Minnesota DNR. DNR manages natural lands such as forests, wetlands, and native prairies, and protects rare plant and animal communities throughout the state. Now, that could be anything from trying to get rid of invasive species in our lakes to getting rid of chronic waste disease in deer. And I think they've been doing a pretty good job at it, but at the same time, they could be doing a lot more. DNR work to conserve, that's pretty much their policy. They want to conserve for future generations. They also care about people that attempt to try and conserve our forests, wetlands, and prairie. In fact, my girlfriend was awarded for studying the pollution in our lakes and the invasive species that us as a society could try to get rid of. You know, we don't need all this junk in our lakes and in our woods that we try to hunt and fish and etc. You know. And that brings me to this main point or picture here. Got a lot of cool stuff up there, and without the DNR managing some of these things, we wouldn't be able to have some of this stuff. And I really enjoy all that stuff up there right now, and I just really appreciate the DNR and what they do for us. Along with conserving natural resources, DNR also create outdoor recreation opportunities. Some examples of outdoor recreation is, just like I said before, snowmobiling, hunting, fishing, state parks, state trails. According to the Minnesota DNR, there are over 22,000 miles of snowmobile trails alone in Minnesota. DNR and law enforcement as well, they're kind of like the same thing, except they're not. The DNR is more outdoors, and they can go into a house and search your house without a warrant. They can pretty much do whatever they want, which is good, I think, because, you know, if they're trying to conserve our lands, then they should be having the right to do what they need to do to get things done. They also make recreational opportunities safe. They plow snowmobile trails so people don't hit a gusset when they're driving their snowmobile and wreck something to them or to their snowmobile, you know. They also provide commercial use of natural resources. So here's DNR checking for invasive species, stuff like that, algae and stuff like that on boats. If a DNR is around lakes, they usually do that in the summertime quite a bit. They're not looking to screw anybody over or hurt anybody's feelings, but they just want to make sure people are learning and doing things safely and right. Alright, so according to Capital Assets of Minnesota, DNR, the capital assets that the DNR manage, belong to the citizens of Minnesota and are essential. These assets are aging and many are in the disrepair and need urgent fixing. Which means a lot of things are aging, you know, and back in the 50s when people were doing things, the DNR were doing things to help out our environment. Well, they're not doing it as much, and then it gets older, you know, and then they need to get back into it, and then they need to start getting on it, you know. But sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. Mark Dayton is actually asking for $155 million to repair assets in parks and trails alone in Minnesota, which I think is great. You know, we need that. Minnesota is a very environmental state. You know, people don't come to Minnesota to, well, I guess they go to Minnesota to check out the Mall of America, but if I was going to Minnesota and I was outside of the state, I would come for the outdoors. Some things that affects people who use parks. People use state parks and trails, want clean trails. They want to have their families have fun there, you know. They don't want to go there with garbage everywhere and just not maintained at all. So the DNR, they do a pretty good job at maintaining our parks. The goal for setting for future generations is the DNR wants to get people into taking care of things more often. Like nowadays, the younger generation just seems not to care about it. They're too interested in their phones and computers and such, not to go outside. And if they do go outside to go to state parks and trails and such like that, or snowmobiling or hunting, they don't respect it. It's not a respected thing. They just go out there to damage something or get their kick out of it pretty much, and then that's it. They don't care about the next guy in line coming to check that out. My final effort, I am making Minnesota better for outdoor activities. People usually, like I said before, don't go and take the time to clean things up after themselves outdoors. And I find that sad because when my grandkids are around, I want them to be able to see what Minnesota has become from point A to point B, not, well, look at the dump that has become from point A to point B. In conclusion, the purpose of Minnesota DNR is not only to conserve natural resources, but also outdoor recreational opportunities and commercial use for natural resources. Like Mark Udall stated, we have to promote responsibility and conservation when it comes to our natural resources in order to take care of our livelihood. The Minnesota DNR, in my point of view, is doing a fairly good job of trying to keep us, keep us and our environment healthy and well. And that's all. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
This is like your second, I don't know, is there somebody behind me pointing to me? This is like your second speech going on about the outdoors. Why are you so adamant about becoming a carpenter? Why the hell don't you go to DNR?
There's not a high demand for that.
No, this was very true.
Yeah. I would love to go be outdoors all day long, but...
Do it! There's, there's right. The U.S. Forestry Service is hiring. That's like foot in the door.
Yeah. But what's the pay for them, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to wear...
Yeah, do what you love.
Short shorts, brown short shorts, and run around all day, but...
I thought that was
right.
Well, a little bit of both.
You're talking about...
Yep. No, you start.
You talk about Mark Dayton getting the money, not to get political or anything, but do you feel that that's really where the money will go?
No.
Okay.
It's a nice thought, but...
Are there, like with the DNR, are there advocacy groups that help to make sure that money gets there?
Yeah, for sure, but it's all that 155 million is not going toward it. And he hasn't even gotten it for sure, you know, he's going for it, saying that, which means, you know, pitch in, and then once I have it, I can do what I want.
What are the top advocacy groups to make sure that it goes there? Do you aware of those, like the Turkey Wildlife?
Oh yeah, like National Turkey Federation and Pheasants Forever, Ducks Unlimited. There's a bunch. There's
Those are the biggest voices?
yeah, those are for sure its biggest voices, but there's also a lot of smaller ones too that people just don't want people screwing things up for future generations.
Alright, so in order to get our natural outdoors back to where it needs to be, we need to create more revenue. How high are you willing to pay for your fishing license or your hunting license?
You know, it's about $27 now for a fishing license for an adult. And I could see it. I wouldn't mind if it went up a little bit. But
Where's your breaking point?
$50. Well, there is no breaking point. There's no breaking point.
Yes, sir.
It's a,
What's your yelling point? Is what it is.
Yeah.
You're still gonna do it.
pretty much, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you just change where you fish. That's what I started doing.
Yeah.
I went to buy one the other day, and I asked $27. I was like,